Yep. If you see real life handwriting on an envelope with a couple of stamps and it's kind of wiggling around a little bit, and you hear the voice reading the lines written on the piece of paper, Malcolm Tent, in this case, the man, the mystery, the burrito, Malcolm Tent, P.O. Box 3626, Newtown, Connecticut 06470, then you know you can bet your bottom dollar or your top dog biscuit that there's a guy lurking behind it, and that would, of course, be moi, Malcolm Tent from Danbury, Connecticut, or Newtown, as the case may be, bringing you the latest episode of Tent Talks Tunes. Hello, Stephen Smith, down in the great city of Richmond, Virginia. Welcome on board. Hope you like my new lighting scenario here. I did a little bit of internet research and came to the conclusion that maybe the problem that I've been having this whole time with my cheap-ass camera is that the lighting was never adequate. So I've got a whole battery of lights all around me. You should see this place. It looked like, I don't know, I feel like a news anchor in a real TV studio here with lights all over the place. So hopefully that'll address some of the focus issues I've had for the last year or so, or some of the weird clicking noises that the camera makes when it tries to focus in and out. Let's see what's going on. You guys can tell me what the quality of my broadcast is like. So yes, we're here, we're live. We're going to talk about some music and records and fun stuff. But first, of course, we got to check the mailbox. We need to see what's arrived at P.O. Box 3626 in Newtown, Connecticut. Well, let's see. I went there today, as a matter of fact, and I see a brand new issue of Bridge and Tunnel Crowd, one of my very favorite print magazines. I love the fact that print magazines are still very much alive and well in this, the age of the blog and the vlog and the Insta whatever and the face this and the internet yak. Yes, paper. Like I said at the beginning of today's broadcast, words printed on paper. There ain't nothing better, baby. So thanks to Bridge and Tunnel Crowd. I haven't even cracked this one open yet, but I'm gonna. I know there's some real wacky, excuse me, eccentric humor and news and information in this. Thank you very much. Now, this is something I was not expecting at all. This is a postcard that I got from Indonesia. Not only is it from Indonesia, but it's from, well, the return address says LV Spit, with a greeting on it saying, hello, I understand that you enjoy receiving fan mail, so here you go. And stand on my skull and call me Shorty if it's not from my old friend who I've not seen or heard a syllable from since about 1985, John, the bass player from Generic Death. Holy cannoli. Generic Death were, and I will vouchsafe to say still are, the only hardcore band to ever come out of Jupiter, Florida. And I'm sure Jupiter, Florida now is a host to an amazing and wonderful selection of Applebee's and Walgreens and other fucking bullshit like that littering up the landscape and making it hideously ugly. But back in 1985, there was nothing in Jupiter except some really cool rock formations down by the shore. Jupiter was nowhere. Jupiter was even more nowhere than Melbourne was. And to have a hardcore band coming from Jupiter, not only that, but kindred spirits, was very cool indeed. So John in Indonesia, that's, you never know where our people are going to end up. So I'll be writing back to John and be sending him a postcard very soon. John, if you're tuned in Indonesia, salute. I'm glad to see you're still out there, and I'm glad to hear from you. I got something coming back to you. No worries. Now, we, a week or two ago, talked about a mysterious and enigmatic postcard I got from La Dama Dorada. La Dama Dorada. Indeed, I did successfully guess who La Dama is, and La Dama has sent me something else. Yes, this is what we opened the show with today. By the way, speaking of Jupiter Hardcore, hello Todd, hello Jill, my BFF. Todd, a great dude. Jill, who I've known since high school. She knows where all the skeletons are buried, so you treat her nice. Derek, hello, Derek. Thanks for signing in. Excuse me. Pardon me. That's live, baby. Live. Hello, Josh. Man, everybody's tuning in now. That's great. Great to see you guys. This is exactly what my homage to the great days of cable access TV is all about. We're live. We're coughing. We're clearing our throat. Ooh, it's nuts. But I do get to see people like Murray Gelman tuning in all the way from the wonderful city of Tucson, Arizona. Murray probably has a vested interest in the contents of this envelope because it did come from La Dama Dorada. And she insisted, yea, demanded in the way that only she can, that I open this envelope live on Tent Talks Tunes. And normally I'm not the type of guy to jump into the snake pit without looking. But I trust La Dama. I trust her. I trust you, La Dama. So I'm going to open this envelope. This is a sealed envelope. You can see it's got the clips. It's got the gum. This is a sealed envelope, which I'm going to open up live here on the internet. And if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, on my fabulous YouTube, where the hell it went, my YouTube channel, just pretend it's live. Hello, Sex Bomb. Thanks for tuning in, Mr. Bomb. Good to see you out there. We're going to open this envelope right now and see what's in it. This is an unveiling, a revealing, the opening of an instantaneous, in-the-moment time capsule. Greg Crawford is right. No mirrors, no wires. Just my attempts at opening a well-sealed envelope to see what's in this thing. What did La Dama Dorada send me? Oh my God. We're opening it up. I see in here is, let's see, a note. Tent bait. Must be me. Courtesy of Tiny Town T-shirts, printing on 4th Avenue in Tucson, to be opened on air only. All right, here we go. 4th Avenue in Tucson is one of my favorite streets in the world. I love the city of Tucson. 4th Avenue is hip hop, hep and happening. Maybe my favorite health food store on the entire planet is on that street, and a pinball gallery. And my friend Lenny Mental's got his tattoo studio there. So 4th Street in Tucson, aces, baby, aces. And these stickers came from 4th Street in Tucson. All right, so now we have another envelope to open. This one I'm going to treat nice, because that's a nice print job. That's a nice writing job. Now that I know what I'm in for, we've got the scissors. We've got the envelope. We are opening this. This is very exciting. We're going to see what's in here. The first time I ever saw somebody blow into an envelope to open it was when Roddy Piper was reading the poll results for most hated, most loved, best tag team, etc. for NWA Wrestling in Los Angeles sometime around 1975. And he was a total heel. He called himself the Lean Mean Machine. That's before he was Rowdy Roddy Piper. But we called him the Lean Green Bean because he was this scrawny dude and his skin really did look kind of green. So Roddy Piper was the first guy who I ever saw blow into an envelope to open it and remove the contents. Now we got all kinds of stuff here. Look at this. Great stickers. We got a saguaro cactus. We got another saguaro cactus, telling it like it is, baby. Tucson, Arizona. I will sing the praises of Tucson as long as you want to hear me sing. And this is looks like a saguaro cactus delivering a blow to some politician whose name I only vaguely remember from a long time ago. And, hey, got to admit, that's rad. It's enough to make you just want to take a look at a sticker and say, oh boy, and say, fuck. Done. Stickers revealed. Thank you, Dama Dorada, for the fine, fine decorations. This is no insult when I say that those are probably going to end up on my waste paper basket, because I look at my waste paper basket every single day, and it's got some stickers on it, but it needs more. So that's a high exposure profile right there. That's a spot that's going to get a lot of looking. Thank you, La Dama Dorada. I will see you in person hopefully before the year is over, and I will be bearing gifts. So watch out. You've been warned. All right, let's make sure everybody's in here now. Yep, everybody's here. Cool. Let's talk about some stuff, shall we? Let's talk about free records. Oh boy, free records. As I've said in the past, as of this afternoon, actually, if you're watching live, the old saying is the best things in life are free. And to me, that means free records. And you might be asking yourself, what do you mean free records? Who gives away free records? Nobody gives away free records. Well, some people do these days here in the 21st century. But way, way back in the prehistoric days, pre-internet, before maybe a few of you had even been whelped, way back when, before the idea of downloading was even a concept, there were, of course, bands and record labels who wanted to get their music heard. And who knew that the best way to do it is to sometimes just give it away. How do you give it away? Well, back in them days, you'd make a physical copy of it at your own expense, and you'd give it away. Take it as a loss. View it as a gift. Do whatever you got to do to make it work, but you give records away. And also cassettes and CDs later on. But we're talking about records, baby, because records are the best. We love records. We also love tapes and CDs, but records particularly, especially. It's los discos that make us happy and give us much divertiendo. Yes. So free records. There were a number of ways that free records were distributed back in the day. And probably the most widespread method of delivery for distributing a free record was if you had a magazine, you would include this thing that is a record, but it's flexi. It's flexible. It's a flexi disc. Look at that. It's a record, but it's very thin. Sometimes they come on great colors, and they're flexible. They're floppy. This is the earliest version of a floppy disk there ever was. And at the time, a flexi disc cost a little bit less than a regular vinyl 45 to make. I know that from experience. I've pressed a couple of flexis on my own in my day. They cost a little bit less than a regular vinyl 7-inch, but their biggest advantage was that they were so thin and so flexible that you could send lots of them for a very low price. Especially when you were dealing overseas a lot, it was very cost effective to make a flexi. They typically didn't sound as good as a pressed vinyl 7-inch, but they didn't sound bad. They sounded good enough, you know, hi-fi stereo. You'd put your needle on the flexi. You would typically have to put a coin on the flexi to keep it from slipping. And a lot of them actually have a spot on the label. Let's see if I can get a good close-up of that. Actually says on the label, if you can read that, place coin here if a flexible record slips. And the American ones had that sometimes too. And this is a true fact. Even to this day, if you were to go over to my living room and look at my turntable, I've got a couple of $50, 50-cent coins sitting on my turntable just in case I got to play a flexi and it starts to slip. Old habits die hard, especially when they're good habits. I'm not one to talk about the good old days because all my days are good. But those were days, and they were good too. So yeah, it's a very, very thin, literally flexible record. And magazines loved these things because when it came to delivery, you could actually just take one of these things, staple it to the front of the magazine, and let the magazines out into the world, into the wild. And there were a lot of great stuff on this magazine giveaway flexis. One, let's see if I'm still here. Yep. Look at all these people talking. I'll talk to all you people once I log off. I love a good, vivid conversation. Yes, my old pal Jill called it. This was from a magazine called Flexi Pop. Flexi Pop was an English magazine, and as you might have guessed by the name, Flexi Pop, they included a flexi on the front cover of every single issue, and they all featured unreleased songs. That was what made them really darn cool. An unreleased song by Haircut 100 called Nobody's Fool. And this is, in fact, the only song by Haircut 100 I even like. I liked this flexi so much that I went out and bought their record, their full-length album, and it stank. It was terrible. It was fey. It was anemic. It was like lily white English pop. No backbone. Did not like it. But gosh darn it, this one flexi of theirs is really good. And it was a giveaway with Flexi Pop. Flexi Pop also gave away my favorite record by Altered Images, if we can see that. It's got a couple of alternate takes of songs from their first album. And the first album's pretty good, but these are better. These might be demos even, versions of Leave Me Alone and Real Toys. Really raw. If you can imagine Altered Images, if you know who they are, imagine a raw version of Altered Images. If you don't know them, look them up. Very cool stuff. Flexi Pop also gave away a flexi by, where is it? I got it here somewhere. I was having a lot of trouble logging in today, so I'm slightly more disorganized than I would like to be. Probably my favorite Flexi Pop flexi is by the Pretenders. And this has got awesome version of What You Gonna Do About It, the old British pop song, and the original demo version of Stop Your Sobbing, the one that actually got the Pretenders the record deal, which the last time I checked, I'm sure things have changed since then, but the last time I checked, these tunes had still never been commercially released. Quite possible that it's on like some kind of super deluxe version of the first Pretenders album or whatever, but these songs were unreleased elsewhere for a very long time. The only way you could get them was on this flexi disc that was available for 1 month with one issue of a British music magazine. So these things, technically, when you get right down to it, are really rare. You know, rarity is determined more than anything else by demand. But if you want to talk about strict numbers and strict availability, they're rare. They are pretty dang rare. So Flexi Pop was great for a while. They also did flexis by Bauhaus. They did one by The Cure, I'm pretty sure. They did some other stuff that was a little too poppy for my taste, like Bucks Fizz and I don't even know what. But for some strange reason, after a while, they decided to not do flexis anymore and become more mature in their musical focus. And it got to be very, very uninteresting, and I never bought another issue again. And they went out of business pretty soon after that. You should have stuck with this particular gimmick because it was a good one. It was real good. Unreleased music for free on the front cover of a magazine. Hot dog and hot damn. I'll drink some Danbury tap water to that. For a really long time, there was a magazine here in the US of A called The Bob. And The Bob did the same thing. The Bob was one of the oversized newsprint magazines, and they came out monthly, and every single issue toward the end of their, like I guess the middle to the end of their run, had a flexi stapled to the front cover. And kind of like Flexi Pop, all the music on their flexis was unreleased, previously unavailable anywhere else. They did a couple by Robyn Hitchcock and the Egyptians, including this one right here, which has a great version of a song called Surgery on it. And yes, as speculated, if you look on the American flexi, and you know, hopefully the camera will pick this up in a second with all the lighting that I just put on it. You can't really see it, but that little circle right there says 33 1/3 RPM, place coin here if flexi disc slips. You really had to have a coin close at hand if you wanted to play a flexi, because they were so lightweight and turntables typically didn't have much of a grip. They would just, you'd drop the needle on and the needle would kind of anchor the flexi to that spot while the turntable spun underneath it. So you had to put a coin there to give it a little bit of heft. So yeah, the Bob, they did tons of stuff. They did compilation flexis, single band flexis. They initiated the series with a bang. The first one they ever did was really, really cool. It was by one of the most record collector friendly bands ever to come down the pike. And that's a band who, when you're talking about arena shows, is a band who I've seen more than any other band ever. And I haven't been to an arena show since 1998. And the band playing at the arena was the band I'm about to talk about. Now let's see if anybody here wants to guess. Now, this is the beauty of doing things live on Facebook. If you're watching this later on Facebook or watching it later on YouTube, you're certainly welcome to comment. But live, let's see if anybody wants to guess. Who was the band that I went to more arenas than any other to see? Cousin Tina, you got any guesses? My cousin Tina down in Florida. What band would I actually go to an arena to see? Not only once, not only twice, but multiple times. The first time I ever saw them was at the James L. Knight Center in Miami, Florida, which was, I believe, about a 2,000-ish seater. Second time I saw them was at Radio City Music Hall, and then after that, the Felt Forum in New York, and then, let's see, the New Haven Coliseum, these are like 4,000 or 5,000 seaters. And then eventually I went to go see them at Madison Square Garden, which you all know Madison Square Garden. That was in 95. And the last time I saw them was at the Hartford Meadows Arena in 1998. And let's see, my bestie Jill says U2. Joe Malinowski guesses Cheap Trick. Ray says Kiss. Got a couple of guesses for Kiss. Everybody, you people know me very well. John Adams says Grand Funk. Oh, man. Well, those are very good guesses because y'all know that I am rabid about Kiss and that Grand Funk is the be-all and the end-all when it comes to rock and roll. Oh, my God. The savage irony is I've never seen Grand Funk live. I've never seen them live. I had one chance to see them, just one, at the aforementioned Hartford Meadows Arena in 1995. But I did not get to see them because I was opening the second branch, the second storefront of my all-time classic record store, Trash American Style. Some of you old-time Connecticut people might remember that Trash had two locations at one time, Danbury and New Milford. Excuse me, the New Milford store ended up dying on the vine, but the night the Grand Funk Railroad played at the Meadows in Hartford, I was there doing opening night for the New Milford Trash American Style. November 1st, 1997. I will never, ever forget it. So, pretty good guesses, but I've still never seen Grand Funk. And as far as seeing Kiss, oh wait, Jilski guessed the Grateful Dead. I did see the Grateful Dead once. I admit it. I got nothing against the Grateful Dead per se. I did see them at Madison Square Garden on my birthday, September 23rd, 1988. I do remember when they did Drums in Space, I kind of dozed off a little bit. But when the music started back up again, I kind of woke up a little bit. It was all right. It was pleasant. So think about that. I've never seen Grand Funk, but I have seen the Grateful Dead. And I hope you guys are ready for this shock of shocks. I've never seen Kiss. True fact. I've seen the Grateful Dead, but I've never seen Kiss. Never, ever seen Kiss in any iteration whatsoever. Kind of strange, isn't it? I mean, it was mostly just circumstance, like back in the old days, when it was Ace, Gene, Peter, Paul. My father said that he would take me and my brothers to see Kiss next time they played in Miami. And when Kiss played the Hollywood Sportatorium, we said, "Well, you said you'd take us to see Kiss. And he said, oh, well, I said Miami. And so he didn't take us to see Kiss. The irony being that the Hollywood Sportatorium is a lot closer to our house was than Miami was. Parents, what are you going to do? And then after that, discovered punk rock, lost interest in Kiss for many years, never went to go see them in the 80s. And then by the time I really got back into them in the 90s, they were only doing like the Kiss convention and stuff like that. And I didn't like their 80s albums at all. I didn't want to go see them. And then for the the 96 reunion with Ace, Gene, Peter, Paul, there was no way in God's green hell I was going to pay those kinds of ticket prices. So I've never seen Kiss. Go figure. No, the arena rock band I've seen more than any other. I hope you guys can read this. I hope I can read it. Can you see that? Is that audible? Is that legible? Does that make any sense? Can you see that? It's r.e.m. That's right. I've seen r.e.m. in more arenas than any other band I've seen in an arena at all. r.e.m. I love r.e.m. There was a time when I was bullish on r.e.m. r.e.m. in their prime, in their heyday, were magic. They really were. And even later on, all of their albums at least had something good to listen to. And even in 98, they still put on a hell of a live show. So I've seen r.e.m. a lot. And when the Bob magazine started doing their run of flexis, they inaugurated it with a flexi by r.e.m. And it had this previously unreleased recording of them doing Femme Fatale by the Velvet Underground. And if I remember correctly, red flexidiscs were only available to subscribers. Pretty sure that's the way it went. At least that was the plan. The idea was that the red flexis went to subscribers, and they did a black flexi that went out to the general public. And also, if you were really super duper special, the subscribers got a picture sleeve. You would actually have to take the record off of the magazine, carefully remove it from the staples, and they gave you a sleeve. That's pretty damn cool. In fact, if you look closely enough at this, and once again, I hope the focus cooperates. I don't know if you'll really be able to see this, but this has the staple holes right there. Whew, it's all reversed, so I have a hard time with my spatial perception. But yeah, there you go. Staple holes from where the magazine was stapled to the record, or vice versa. So you subscribe, you get the red flexi, you get the picture sleeve. The thing about the picture sleeve, which is really cool, if you can read that, it says Femme Fatale on the front. And so almost every single copy of this you will ever see has got a red E drawn in at the end of the word fatal, so it says Fatale. The publishers of the Bob actually sat down with red felt tip pens and penned in the E on almost every single copy of the sleeve that went out. Now, why does mine not have the E on it, you might ask? Happy to tell you. Back in those days, when you would get a magazine and read it from cover to cover, ads and all, I saw the ad placed by the Bob magazine that said, r.e.m. picture sleeve blowout. We still have, whatever, like 100 of these sleeves sitting in the office. We don't want them anymore. $1 each, cash and carry, first come, first served. So I sent them, I think, $20 and got 20 of these sleeves so I could have them to package flexis in whenever they came through the door at Trash American style. And wouldn't you know, I guess that by that time they were just sick and tired of drawing those E's in, so they were the original actual sleeves with the misspelling and no correction. And so I, being the collector guy that I am, took all the red flexis I could possibly find, and they did come through occasionally, and stick them in the picture sleeve without the E, which I'm going to make a lofty statement and say is probably the single rarest variant of the r.e.m. Femme Fatale giveaway flexi from the Bob magazine. Thank you very much. I'm not just a collector. I'm a guy who likes to control his own destiny. Let's drink to controlling your own destiny. I'm an advocate. Now, when you talk about controlling your own destiny, it's of course a good time for me to go into commercial mode and mention that I do make my living not only through my store, Trash American Style, which you can find on Discogs and eBay, but I'm also, as you know, a rock star and an artist and all that. And I'm very excited to say that after several years in the making, several years, it's finally ready to go. I went public with this thing yesterday. It's not a record, but it is flexible. It is, finally, after much waiting, the second volume of my photography, Total Devo Women, by me, Malcolm Tent, from Danbury, Connecticut. Not only does it have 26 sometimes disturbing, actually there's a few disturbing ones in here, sometimes disturbing, sometimes just plain old lovely, sometimes, if I dare say, even borderline titillating photos of sexy human women in devolved situations with my own lighting. Every photo's got a caption which is relevant and germane to Devo. And on the back, reproduced in full color, is an actual email that Mark Mothersbaugh sent to me saying, "Wow, I love the first volume of your book. Keep up the good work." And I wrote back to Mark Mothersbaugh and said, "Mark, may I quote you?" He said, "Yes, you may." So this is the real deal, kids. First printing, 37 hand-numbered copies. I sold almost half of them yesterday with one post on the dreaded Facebook. So I've still got a few left. If you want one, message me directly, and I'll give you all the details. Promesa. Thank you for listening to my commercial, because it's my self-determination we're talking about. I don't want to go back to McDonald's and flip burgers. I've done that already. Didn't like it. You come home smelling like a grease trap with grease all over your skin that you can scrape off with your nails, and your nails have McDonald's grease under them. I've been there. I know. I'm not doing that again, baby. So yes, in my book, the book is a much more viable alternative. So please support my scene so I can keep talking to you on Tent Talks Tunes. All right, so flexis, we've already determined, are the most efficacious method of distributing music for free. And, well, let's see. I got so many flexis to talk about. All right, I'll get into hard vinyl in a minute. More flexis. We're going to talk about more flexis. Another very fan-friendly group who gave away flexis. And this one's really cool. See, there it is. It's in a sleeve. It's flexible. Check this out. A flexi by Joy Division. Comakino, backed with incubation. The first time I ever heard about this one was in Trouser Press magazine. And once again, reading the magazine from cover to cover, ads and all, there was an ad from the old Rough Trade mail order that said, "Free Joy Division Flexi. Send whatever, 55 cents, whatever it was at the time, 39 cents for postage, and we'll send you a Joy Division Flexi." Could not believe it. So I sent my 39 cents or whatever it was to Rough Trade, and by cracky, a couple weeks later, allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery, I got the Joy Division Flexi. And there it is. Comakino on the A. Incubation on the B. It's even got the classic, timelessly beautiful factory records label design on it. I mean, that really is, to me, that is an absolute masterpiece of graphic design. And they were giving these things away. I mean, how fan-friendly can you get? And this was also after Ian Curtis died. Apparently the plans were, in motion for a very long time to release this. I guess it was going to tie in with the release of the second album, Closer. They just wanted to say thank you to the fans or promote it or whatever. But even though Ian Curtis hung himself, the album still came out. The flexi still came out. The Love Will Tear Us Apart single still came out. They never stopped. They were relentless. They just kept going. Joy Division did not give up. So this is a very special record from a very special time. And it was free. Completely free. And this has been reissued. You can get it now on various anthologies and whatnot. Great, great song. Komakino especially. Incubation's a pretty cool instrumental. But Komakino is a bona fide top shelf Joy Division song. And they gave it away. And there was some zine, I don't know what magazine it was or how they worked it, but some magazine, for their giveaway, they somehow secured a large quantity of these flexis, and they made their own picture sleeve for it. And you could only get this picture sleeve in that magazine. And it's definitely not like, official Factory Records graphics. You can tell it's all rub-on lettering and clip art, but it's still pretty cool. It's got, the graphics are very new wavy and very DIY, which to me is great. I love that. I love that aesthetic. I really do. I've still got piles of rub-on lettering here in my office that I used to make, cassette inserts and sleeves with. So that just goes to show you how cool a giveaway can be. Joy Division, baby, for free on a flexi. And as we probably know, Joy Division morphed into New Order, and New Order continued with the same idea. Fan-friendly, make something kind of cool for the punters. And this is a record that was available only for one day. If I have my history memorized correctly. This record was available for one day, at one gig, at one venue. And there is no clue whatsoever as to what it is. If we can read that, Merry Christmas from the Hacienda and Factory Records. It is indeed a B Music production. Doesn't say who the band is. It's just Merry Christmas. You'd never guess that if you were one of the lucky people who went to this big Christmas party at the Hacienda in Manchester, England, and they gave this to you whether you wanted it or not, that it was actually New Order. New Order doing Christmas songs. Very silly synthesizer Christmas songs. Rare as hell. And wouldn't you know, okay, this is just one of those things that makes you think about the justice of this world, or lack thereof. Being in the record business, via Trash America style, or anybody who's worked at a record store or owns a record store, Joe Malinowski, if you're out there, you can chime in on this. You get flexis all the time. They're always coming in. If you deal with used records and you buy collections, flexis are just part of the landscape. And there are about 287,000 copies of National Geographic's Songs of the Humpback Whale on flexi. There's about 288,000 copies of Robert Redford's Song of the Wolves on flexi. There's Glenn Miller's Time Life Sampler flexi disc. The funny thing is that considering how flexible and flimsy these things are, you never really find them damaged. You might find them played almost to death, but you really never find them like creased or ripped or anything. They're pretty durable. But wouldn't you know it, out of all the flexis in my collection, and out of the 570 whatever thousand copies of Robert Redford's Song of the Wolves and National Geographic's Songs of the Humpback Whale, I've never ever seen one of those things folded in half and creased to the point where I couldn't play one. Never once, ever. Never. They're all playable. But this one right here, the New Order 1 gig, one night only giveaway don't know if you guys can see it. Look at that crease. Somewhere along the line, that sucker got folded right in half and creased to where it is not playable. Look at that. Look at that. Not Robert Redford. Not National Geographic. Not Glenn Miller. New Order. Mind you, my life is still good. My life is great. But you know what? When I see that, it makes me want to pick up the sticker that La Dama Dorada just mailed me and let the sticker do the talking. But I'm in a good mood. I'm a happy guy. I got one more flexi to show you, and then I'm going to show you one hard vinyl record. And I'm going to go stuff my face, because I'm a hungry record dealer, man. I haven't had supper yet. I'm starving. Ah, here we go. Cousin Tina guessed r.e.m. Yeah, we got a lot of stories here. This is great. This is great. Okay, so there we were. Right? A flexi. How do I know from experience that flexis cost a little bit less than a vinyl record, but they're very portable? Well, I've made a couple. I mentioned that before. And one of my favorite releases on my label, TPOS. Note that the plugs always work their way in very subtly. See? 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 My label TPOS, which is up to my 240th release. I've released 2 flexis in my day. One by my band Bobby, and the other was my gift to my customers at Trash American Style. This came out in 1996. And this was in the day, not to use that tired old worn out phrase too much, but this was back in the day when owning a record store actually, for the only time probably in recorded human history, made money. Like actually made enough money to put in the bank. You know, obviously record stores make money. You know, they gotta to survive. You pay your bills, you pay your employees, you hopefully pay yourself. Of course you make money. But there was only one time ever that we made enough money to have a little extra to spend on like really cool fun stuff. And so I thought, you know what? Business is good. Our customers are wonderful. I love them. Wouldn't it be great if we made a Trash American Style business card and just gave it away to anybody who bought a record? And what better way to do it than to make it as a flexi? This is a small flexi. This is a 6-inch flexi, maybe a 5.5-inch flexi. So, as you can see, in the classic tradition of mystery and suspense, and once again, I hope that the focus works. You can just see on it, you know, I typed that out on my old Sears typewriter that I had in high school. Trash American Style, the store, and TPOS, the label. Thank you for everything. It says, with love from myself and my entire staff at Trash American Style at the time, with the store logo and the TPOS logo. We gave these things away. I believe I made 1,000 of them. Pretty sure I made 1,000 of these, and gave every single one away to anybody who bought a record at Trash American Style. If you can see the grooves, you can see it's got 2 songs on it. And if you look at the label, you see it doesn't say who the artiste is. There's no indication as to who is on the record. Now, some of you people out there might know. In this case, I'm going to ask. If you do know for a fact, don't be the spoiler. If you want to guess, feel free to post your guesses. I guarantee you this is a band you've heard of. You have heard of this band. And these folks were very nice people. They were semi-regular habitués of Trash American Style. Whenever they were on tour for a while, for a few years, they would always stop in and go record shopping and hang out. And also there were certain people from this band who had family in the area. So like on holidays, we'd see members of the band. And on one such holiday, I took said member aside, took him into my office, and I said, dude, there's a clue right for you. It was a dude. I said, dude, when you guys played Toad's Place, whatever, a year ago, and you did that really wild rap about going to Trash American Style, I'll see you down at Trash American Style every day, every way. I'll see you down at Trash American Style. While the band did this really wild noise improv freak out at the end. While you were doing that, I had my recorder running and I recorded you doing that. I would like for you to give me permission to use that recording on a flexi disc that I will just give away. We won't put your name on it. The band name won't be on it. No clue. It's just going to be a flexi with that rap and that noise on it. And I said, I got another thing I'd like to use. Two of your bandmates were on WXCI recently. And if you want to know what WXCI is, take a look at one of my Malcolm Tent Shoot interviews with Greg Vegas, all of which are archived on my YouTube channel. Two of your bandmates were on WXCI being interviewed, and at the end of the interview they said, well, we're going to go down to Trash American Style now where they're selling bootleg copies of our latest album, which of course was not true. I actually had to run over to the store. When they showed up, they were as good as their word. They did indeed go down to the store afterwards, after the interview, and I was able to go there and say, dude, I refute that. And they just laughed. But I said, I got the recording of them saying that, and I want to put that little soundbite on top of more of the noise jam that I recorded. And they said, yeah, sure, go ahead. We give you permission. You can put that on the flexi. You can give them away. And you cannot tell anybody who it was. And I see that nobody's guessed yet. How come there have been no guesses as to who it was? It wasn't r.e.m. I'll give you that much of a clue. It wasn't r.e.m. It wasn't Joy Division. It wasn't New Order. Who is the band that's on the Trash American Style giveaway flexi disc, which is being held upside down in front of the camera? Michael Grosso knows. He knows because he got one back in the day. But he ain't going to tell. I want to see some guesses. I'm going to be like Dr. Eugene Scott. I'm going to sit here and say nothing or do nothing until I see a couple of guesses. Y'all got to play along, man. This is fun. This is interactive. Gary Childs took a guess. Let's see if anybody else has a guess besides Gary. If you're watching this on YouTube now, believe me, it was a lot of fun live. The suspense was just growing. It could be growing now on YouTube as well. On YouTube, though, you can skip ahead. Here now live on Facebook, you can't. Greg Crawford says Ramones. We got one Sonic Youth, we got one Ramones. Those are both pretty good guesses. I'm going to drink while you guys think. Well, gee whiz, even after all the clues I gave you, that they're kind of from the area somewhat, I only have two guesses, Ramones or Sonic Youth. Well, I promised I would never tell. I promised. I said I wouldn't tell. So, I never did. Grant wants to know, Haircut 100. It was not Haircut 100. Sorry, Grant, original guitar player for Broken Talent. It was not Haircut 100. I said I would never tell, but some people did guess, And of course, when the internet became the internet, the word got out, and it's been posted here and posted there and listed over yonder and hither and thither. Not the feelies, but yes, indeed, Gary was right. Sonic Youth. Hooray to Gary. And thank you, Michael, for not telling. Yeah, Sonic Youth gave me permission to put this thing together and give it away. And I gave every single last Verschluggener one of them away. I never charged a nickel for one of them ever until very long after the fact when they'd been out of print forever and a couple got traded back in, because sometimes I remember one time very clearly I was at the local thrift shop in Danbury and there were some cool records there and I bought them and I was looking through them and core blimey, a couple of them had these flexis in them. So I unwittingly bought my own flexi back in some used records. So, it's kind of fair game now, and everybody knows it's Sonic Youth, but at the time, I gave them every single one of them away, because in 1996, I could afford to do it, and I was happy to do it. I was glad to do it. It was sort of like my contribution to the overall discography and record collecting in general, and lots of fun. And the other factoid is a true, honest-to-God fact that back at the time when I released it, nobody, I'm not joking, nobody guessed that it was Sonic Youth. Nobody. People would come in and say, "Who is that?" I said, "I promised I wouldn't tell." "Come on, you got to tell me." And I was like, "You didn't recognize any of the voices or even the sound of the music? You couldn't guess? Nobody guessed. Nobody guessed." And so I was like really surprised by that. And only slightly more surprised when, the internet came into a sentence and it started being posted around that this was a Sonic Youth record. Boy, howdy, mysterious human being behavior. Who knows? Who knows? All right, gang, I've got one last record to talk about. And this is getting into another whole arcane area. Some people did actually give away hard vinyl records. Not nearly as often, but there's still plenty of them out there. And this one, I'm very, very fond of this one. Not only because it's one of my favorite bands of all time, but because the concept behind it is just so wild. Whew, wild. Okay. 1981, Southern California, the Licorice Pizza record chain. It was a more or less local record chain. I don't know how many locations there were, but this could probably only have happened at this time in this place. 1981, maybe early 82 by the time it finally came out. You've got this band, you've got this label, you want to promote your band, you want to promote your label, so you hook up with the local record store chain and you strike a deal. You say, "Hey, look, we'll press this record for you. It'll be an exclusive. All we ask is some counter space at your locations, and you can give them away. We'll press up however many. I don't even know how many were pressed. I'm sure that information's out there. But we'll press up a bunch. You just give them away. And it draws customers to your store, helps us, helps the label." And thus was born the fabled Licorice Pizza promo 45 single, hard vinyl. I shall read the text on the labels. On the A side, it says "Special Gift, Catalog Bogus 001." And it's got the label logo and a logo of the band. No band name. On the back, it says, "In appreciation of all the support from our fans and Licorice Pizza Inc." And it does say the band name, but it's not very obtrusive. It's just kind of there in the text. And it's got the song title on one side and the song title on the other. So all I'm going to say is this. Just kind of put yourself in this scenario. 1981, 82. You're like a surfer dude or a valley girl, and you've gone to the local record store, Licorice Pizza. You want to get the new Van Halen record because it's out. Or like, maybe the new Aerosmith record because it just came out. It's really cool. And, oh, wow, look, man, they got a free record here at Licorice Pizza. Wow, it's free? Really? Cool, man. I get this free record. Awesome. I'll take anything for free. So the unwitting, although very willing, and definitely unknowing, most likely, Valley Girl or Surfer Dude gets this free record and puts it home and plops it on the turntable. And here's these exclusive, unreleased live versions of Thirsty and Miserable by Black Flag, which kind of rocks out pretty well. But then on the B-side, a live version of Life of Pain by Black Flag, recorded live at Target Video in San Francisco, California. Not released anywhere else, anywhere. And to this day, still never reissued. You could only get it on this one giveaway 45, which was available at Licorice Pizza while supplies lasted. Now, friends, Americans, countrymen, countrywomen, guys and gals, all I can say is I have no doubt whatsoever that this is posted up on YouTube somewhere, or you can hear the audio for this, the Black Flag Licorice Pizza 45. Life of Pain especially. Give it a listen. Listen to it. And you tell me, somewhere down the line, if you think this record attracted more fans or scared them away. I'm curious. Personally, I love it. It still blows my mind. This is one of the most raw, brutal, painful performances you will ever hear by any band anywhere. Whew. I wonder how many people this record scared away compared to the number of people that it drew in. Just curious about that. Nick Stone, he says his very first vinyl was Black Flag, Who's Got the 10.5? Who's Got the 10.5 is a great record. This is a frightening force of nature. Listen to it. See if you survive. And see if this made any fans for Black Flag. Or just scared them away. And it was a free record. No cost. And that, my friends, wraps up this week's episode of Tent Talks Tunes. I am, as always, so grateful to you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Gives an old record coot something to do on a Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook. I again draw your attention to the Total Devo Women Photography book. If you want one, message me. Let me know. I still got a number left. First edition, hand-numbered, 37 copies. Did I mention that before? Only 37 copies, each one numbered. And if you're a Devo fan, you understand the significance of the number 37. Wink, wink. And even if you don't want it, whatever. Thanks for looking. I really do appreciate it. So, yeah. I'm going to toddle on off into the sunset. Get me a nice supper of some of that icky vegan food. Ugh. Which will nourish me enough to make it through the next 167 hours until we can meet again. And until then, this is Malcolm Tent saying so long from the Nutmeg State.